Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. My name is Felix Bliss. Today we are going to continue our Photoshop complete training. We have done episode 1, episode 2, episode 3 of season 1. We are now moving to episode 4 and I hope you have enjoyed our previous tutorials. If you have not watched that, episode 1 is there. You can click on that. You can also check in the description and watch episode 1, episode 2, episode 3 before you come to episode 4, what we are going to learn in our tutorial. So in today's tutorials, we are going to talk about the tools. Although in our previous tutorials, we spoke about tools in Photoshop. And I hope most of you have learned a lot about the toolbar. Today, we are looking at different set of tools altogether. The tools are many in Photoshop, so I'm going to tackle with the pan tool. So this is the pan tool, this one. We call it pan tool or the hand tool. The hand tool is used for panning. Okay, you can use this one to pan. The shortcut for this particular tool is H. So when I press H, this one will come. Let me go back and press H. Look at this. We have the hand tool, and now look at this. I can place my image anywhere I want. Assuming, let's say I've zoomed out like this. This is the practical example of it, right? You can see the other side. So for you to see the other side, so as you can see, we have zoomed out our image. So if we want to move to the other side, we need to use the hand tool to view the other side. So I'll just click and drag to this side, and you can see I am viewing that side. I don't need to zoom out before I can view that side. With the help of the hand tool, I can move around like this and work on any place I want by zooming out. Okay, and if you want to go back to your normal working screen or whatever, in our previous lesson we learned about zoom. The same features is applied to the hand tool here. So when you come here, you can see we have the fit screen here. You can click on it, or you can choose the fill screen. The fit screen and the fill screen are not the same. I repeat, the fit screen and the fill screen are not the same. Look at the fill screen and look at the fit screen. You can see that there are a lot of different. The fill screen, you can see that there is no space around this area. But let's look at the fit screen. You can see we have a lot of space here. So that is the pan tool. Let's go to the next set of tool. The next set of tool I'll talk about is the almighty move tool. You see, Photoshop, I must say the most common tool you will use is the move tool. The move tool is the most common tool you will use, because if you want to drag your image, do whatever, you need the move tool to move around. But the move tool comes with some specific things. Let's look at example number 1. Now let's say let me go to this particular and create some shapes here. Okay, so that I can explain it well to you. Now look at this. We have this particular shapes here. Okay, let me change the color for this. Okay, so we have these two shapes here. Now with the move tool, you can just drag this one to any part. The move tool and the pan tool are not the same. With the pan tool, you are not moving the object. The object is at the position, but with the move tool, you are moving this object from its original position to different locations. So if you see on my screen, you can see that the pixels for horizontal is changing, the pixels for the vertical tool is changing. Okay, so the location pixels, that's what I'm talking about. It is changing, meaning that I am changing the original location. So that is the move tool. Apart from you moving the move tool, now let's come to our layers. One thing about the move tool is that when this layer is locked, okay, let's say this particular shape is locked, okay, you cannot move it. Listen again, when it is locked, it means you cannot use the move tool. You see, I can't move this particular shape. It is not possible. That is one thing you should note. So some of you might try moving some of your shapes and it will not move. That's the reason. It will not move. Look at, it's not moving because it is locked. So let me go back again and unlock it and move it, and it is going. That's one thing you should know. And another thing you should know is that we have what we call the auto select. With the auto select, that enables me to switch from this shape to this shape. You get it? Now let's uncheck this one. Okay, and let me try to move this. Look at this shape is not moving, but rather this particular shape is moving. Why? When you come to the layer here, this shape is selected. This particular shape is selected on the layer. So when this one is unchecked, you cannot move this one. So if you want to move this particular shape, it means you have to select that one on the layer. Okay, so if I select that one and move it, you see I'm moving that. Let me try and move this one. It will not work. It will move the black one. So that's the auto select. So if you check the auto select, that one will help you to select the shape or the object which you place your cursors on. Okay, so if I place my cursor on this one, it's going to move. If I place it on this one, it's going to move. So that's the auto select. If I hold the control key, the auto select will go off. And now let me try to move this. You see this one is gone. The auto select is gone when I hold the control key. Good. So that is all about the move tool. And under the move tool, when you right click here, you will see we have the artboard tool. We are not going to talk about the artboard in this particular section because it's a whole lot of tutorials on this one. So I'm teaching you the common ones first, then we will dive into the more complicated ones in the coming series or coming episode. So let's go to another tool, and this tool I group them, we call them the selection tools. Okay, selection tools. Okay. So that's it for. We have about 3 sets of selection tools in Photoshop. Okay. So what we are going to do right now is, with the Marquee tool, we have this one. This one allows you to make your selection. Okay, this one helps you to add another selection. So let us do it practically so that you see what I'm talking about rather than doing the talking. So let's say I want to select this particular region. I have made my selection, right? If I want to add another selection, I'll click on this, meaning that I want to add another one. I'll click on this. If I want to subtract this, I'll click on this. Then I can subtract the one I just draw from it and it is gone. You get it? If I want to create intersection, I'll just click on this. I'll just click on this and then I'll create my intersection. And we have the intersection point here. So that's the meaning of all these things here. I hope you have understood what I'm trying to say. Let's draw a shape so that it will become more visually explained to you. Let's say I draw this rectangle. Okay, and if I draw this rectangle, if I want to fill it, okay, I can plus backspace or option plus backspace on Mac, and you can see that the foreground color has filled this one. Okay, so I have created this particular shape. If I want to create another shape, I will just click on this one and I can fill that one too as well. You get the point. If I want to subtract, okay, I'll just select the whole of this one and you can see that the selection is only on this one. Okay, if I want to intersect, I'll just click here and you can see this is my intersection point, and when I press Ctrl plus backspace, it is going to fill with my background color. So Ctrl plus backspace and you can see it is filled with that. So that's the essence of using the selection tool. So if you want to deselect your selection, you just press on Ctrl plus D to deselect it, or you can go to select and you click on deselect and the selection is gone. So let's go back. So that is the explanation for this. I've given you about 3 examples on how to use these particular options here. So I hope you have understood that. Now let's go to the next set of options here under the Marquee tool. You see all these settings or all these options are applied to the rest of the selection tool I'm going to talk about. So don't worry if I spend a lot of time on this. Now let's talk about the feather. Now the feather softens the edge. So let's say I change this feather from 0 to 5, okay, and then enter. Now let's create another selection here and then let's fill it with a color. Then Control D. Now let's zoom in and look at the difference. So look at the first one we created without the feather. The first one, look at the edge. It is very hard. In Photoshop, when you say edge is hard, this is what we are trying to mean. Okay, it's very straight, you can't see any blurriness there. But when you come here, it is very soft. You can see that the edge, you can see a lot of, you can see that the edge is very blurry. Okay, that's what we are talking about here. So that is the feather for you. Let's go to our image and then let's delete certain portion. Okay, so assuming I want to delete this particular region with a feather set to 5 and I press on backspace, look at this, look at the edges. You can see we have this blurry thing here. Okay, now let's set the feather to 0 and then delete this portion. Look at this. So compare the two. This one is very hard, this one is very soft. So that is the hardness and the softness of edges in Photoshop. Okay, so let's go back to our original image. Okay, so that is the feather, and the next one is anti-alias. The anti-alias, you can see here, it is grayed out. I will talk about that later on. So we have this one, we have the normal, we have the fixed ratio, we have the fixed size. So if I want to, initially I was using the normal for my selection, so this is a normal selection. Okay, if I choose the fixed ratio, it will give me the width to height ratio. So let's say I want to create a width of 50 and then height of 20. Enter. Then let's create it. This one, you are not going to create your own shape or whatever. It is going to create based on the dimension you gave it to. So you can see we have this, and you can change the position. Okay, you can change from, you can swap it. So you can say the width should be 20, the height should be 50. You can click on this to swap back, and we have the fixed size. The fixed size means you see the first one is fixed ratio. That one, it is based on ratio, but with the fixed size, it's not based on ratio. With this one, when I say 64 by 64, it will create 64 by 64. Look at this. It is not creating anything other than, you can't just drag. No, it will not work. It will give you a fixed size, but with a fixed ratio, you can even create above that. And you see we have this. Okay, it is just a ratio. So it's, I don't know, this is quite a mathematical something, and if you did ratio and proportion, you will understand this, what I'm trying to mean here. You cannot stretch beyond the ratio you have given to, so there's no way the height will be greater than the width. You see the height is 20, the width is 50, so always the ratio will make sure that no matter how much you stretch, your width should be greater than your height. That is what I'm trying to mean here. Okay, this is mathematical something, so you should understand that one as well. And that is all about the rectangular Marquee tool. So the next one we talk about is the elliptical. I've explained everything there. Now the elliptical, the difference between the elliptical and the rectangular is that this one is going to create an ellipse or oval or circle, whatever you call it. Okay, so when I do this here, you're going to get this kind of circle or elliptical here. If I hold the Alt key on, or the Option key on the keyboard, and I drag, it is going to create from the center. Okay, it's going to create from the center for me like this. You get the point? Good. With that one too, we have all these things here. I've already explained that in the rectangular Marquee tool, except the anti-alias. The anti-alias just smoothing the edges of the selection. So let me give you a typical example. Let me uncheck the anti-alias and then create something like this. Backspace to delete that. Select this, and now let's check the anti-alias and then just create something like this. This backspace to delete that. Now let's zoom in and compare the edges. Okay, we are talking about edges here. So look at the one without the anti-alias. We have this one. Look at the edges. Zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. I don't know how I will call this, like, yeah, wavy edges like that. But look at this one, very smooth one there, unlike this one. So that is all about the anti-alias. Okay, so we have explained that two major tools. So with this particular set of tools, you'll be using the rectangular Marquee tool, you'll be using the elliptical Marquee tool mostly in your designs and your manipulations. But with this one, single row marquee tool and column row marquee tool, I don't think you'll be using them as much. Okay, select. Okay, now let's go back. You see we have this select and mask. We will deal with that one later, so don't worry if I have not spoken on that. Now let's check this single row marquee tool. With this single row marquee tool, it's just like this. Let's look at something here. If I create something like this, you see this is what it is creating. Okay, I can just go for this one as well, the column marquee tool, and then I'll click on the add and I'll create a column here. Look at this. Okay, now if I press on backspace, it is going to delete that particular regions, and you can see it has deleted that. So that is the uses of the single row and then single column marquee tool. Okay, so we are done with the first set of selection tools. Thank you very much for joining me today. Okay, in our coming episode, we shall look at more tools, including the quick one tool, object selection tool, and others. Okay, so please, if you don't want to miss, I can't teach all the tools in this episode. That's why you need to watch our next episode. So if you don't want to miss, click on the subscribe button, hit the bell button, join our Telegram page, and you'll get the updates on whatever is going to happen. My name is Felix Bliss. I will see you in our coming